Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 699 of the DrunkNerds podcast. I'm host, as always, I'm Tyler, and joining me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
I'm doing good, dude. This past week has been kind of interesting because there has been a lot that's been going on, both in the video game stuff I've been playing, also at work as well. For the video game side of things, I got my Steam Deck in the mail finally this past Monday.
Hell yeah, brother.
I've been trying a bunch of different games on there. And I gotta admit, man, it's like after a week, I'm fairly much loving it because of how great the games look, and also how the performance of the Steam Deck OLED is. I mean, when essentially and stuff, this definitely performs better in some aspects than the actual Switch 2 from what I've had a chance to test out yet.
Mm.
But there definitely are a couple more games and stuff I want to try to test out on it before I get a good grasp and stuff. But I'm loving the customization of the Steam Deck itself. I'm loving that I can also go into each individual game and seamlessly like just press a button, adjust certain game settings inside of it just to try to customize how I want to experience the game itself. But on top of that, though, I'm also kind of I'm also kind of a little bit oh God, what's the word for it? Because the Steam holiday sale stuff is going on now,
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting kind of overwhelmed at how I'm going
Yes.
to get some of the games that I actually want to play on this system because there's some great sales, but I'm trying to decide which games I want to play immediately as opposed to what I'm going to be playing maybe at 6 months from now. So
Mm.
it's definitely a challenge right at this moment in time. But other than that, everything else is fine. But how have you been doing, Tyler?
I'm doing all right. Clanging and banging as always. Yeah, it's been a kind of a whatever week here. It's been just same old, same old. Look for jobs, all that fun stuff. I did
Hmm.
pick up a couple of things like not on Steam sale stuff. I looked a little bit. I was like, there wasn't like anything speaking out to me. Like I bought a lot of stuff during like Black Friday too. I spent a lot of money on Steam, and I'm like I've not played a lot of these. Right, like some of these I played for like 10 minutes. But not for me. So I'm like, all right, maybe I don't kind of withhold from that. I did though. I did buy a couple games though. I did. There was the Claire Obscure Expedition 33. They have the like this collector edition. I want not the super fancy one that comes with the statue. I wanted that one. But there was like the Lumiere edition. Um, that
Yes.
I did buy. It's like a GameStop exclusive. That was like $70 for that one. I did buy that. It's cool. It comes with like a hard case, stuff like that. I meant to grab it. So it's on the other side of the room, but it's pretty cool. It's kind of looked at that one, and then I did after just couple after the Game Awards and stuff like that. And like the whole Divinity stuff, and like they did that like Divinity 2 got like a PS5 update. Um, what was it, like 2 weeks ago, or whatever. I was like, oh, man, I really should like just play Baldur's Gate 3. And I had a couple friends too that like started playing it a couple weeks ago too, and they're really into it. And I was like, all right, got me kind of antsy to play it. And it was on Steam for the Steam sale for like I think it was like $50 for the deluxe edition. But I'm the same. I have a Steam Deck, but I don't have like a my PC is not built for like really playing games on it. And like especially like a game like that and everything I was reading, I was like, I'll buy it on there. But everything I was reading was like everybody's like it runs great until you get to like Act 3, and then it just runs really really badly. And I'm like, okay, so I don't want to do that. But on Xbox, they had the digital deluxe on sale for like $55, I think. So I went ahead, I did buy it on there. I haven't started playing it yet because I'm still playing Persona 3 Royale, and I've got a million other games I want to play. And plus, I've Gables. I gotta tell you something.
Man, what's that?
So there's a revelation that came out a couple weeks ago. I got really into My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
I'm almost season 4. So
Okay.
I'm flying through it.
Okay.
It's a really great show, Gables. And I'm like, I'm gonna watch like a couple episodes, and I'll end up watching like 7 episodes in a row. I'm like, oh the shit. So I've not done a lot of gaming this week, primarily because there's like, well, there's like a million shows that I'm like it's just hard, even being unemployed the last few months. With my layoff, just keeping up, like it is like literally, it would be like unless I just sat from my couch 24/7, it is impossible to keep up with all the entertainment just from like games coming out and then also
Yeah.
television. So I'm like the last couple weeks here, I've been trying to. I got a bunch of movies here and TV shows that are like on my backlog. I'm trying to knock some of those out, And then also I got really into My Hero Academia, and that show is just
Mm.
fantastic. So really enjoying that. It's like my first anime ever. So it did just have its finale last week. So I'm definitely I see people talking about that. So I'm just trying to avoid everything because, like I said, I'm
Oh yeah.
I'm like I think I'm like maybe like I'm like in the 50s somewhere for episodes, and I think there's like 170 episodes or something like that. So I got a ways to go. So I'm trying to avoid everything spoiler wise. But yeah, that's kind of like why I admittedly this week it's probably like the least amount of video games I played in a week for a long time. Well, not completely true. I played a bunch of. I got really back into college football 26. But like other than that, like, but I haven't been playing. I haven't progressed much in like Persona. Like I put like 5 more hours in this week, and just been mostly, it's got a little nicer here in Iowa. So I've been like trying to get outside a little bit more while I can, and let my dog out, take him for some WALKs and stuff like that. So try to get out. I figure I'm gonna be getting cooped up when we get to January, February. So it's been in the 40s and stuff. So I'm trying to enjoy that. But yeah. Anyways, kind of rambling on there. But in case you didn't know, this is the Drunk Nerds podcast where Gables and I get together every week. I'm Tyler, that's Gables, and we just talk about video games, everything we love about them. We're just two guys. We do this for fun. We don't make money off of this necessarily. We, like I said, we just do it because we like video games. We do have on YouTube. If you want, that'd be the best place. If you want really to help us out, subscribe to us, like us over there. That we do have a membership. It's just $1 a month. That is like, we don't have anything extra to give you for that one. It's just kind of like a way of saying thank you, and we appreciate what you're doing. So it'd be really great. We have a couple members already, and it'd be great if you want to add to that. And it just makes us feel good. Then maybe Gables and I can buy some coffee every now and again. Yeah. So, and also we're on every podcast service. So check us out. There's links down below to get to those places. But like I said, if you're watching on YouTube, just hit that like button. Share it as well. Share is actually probably the best thing you can do for us as well. But anyways, guys, this is kind of the plan for the next couple weeks here is it's gonna be a little wonky. This is like our last like regular show for the year. So we're gonna be doing this episode. This will be like our last regular one, like I said. Then next week, Gables and I we're kind of recording out of order. Gables and I only ever get like 2 weeks off a year from recording. Even like I said, we do this for fun of it, but we try to stick to a pretty good schedule of usually recording Saturday night. Episode comes up every Sunday morning. Sometimes it might get delayed a day or so, but typically that's what we try to do. But Gables and I, like I said, we never actually we rarely ever get like weeks off from recording. So but it's kind of funny that we usually take like the last week off of the year and then like the first week off of the year. So we already recorded an episode for next week. It's just kind of like usually this time of year, there's not a lot of news going on. This is actually kind of a more newsy week than I was anticipating. Especially usually post Game Awards, it's like pretty much dead till like mid to late January. Like maybe we get like a direct or something in there. But yeah, so we're gonna be doing this episode. The next we've got a fun little surprise episode that's going up that we already recorded. Gables, I don't know if I had a lot of fun with it. I don't know if Gables had a lot of fun with it. But it'll be a fun little episode. We do it every year. We do like a little fun dumb episode. That way we can just enjoy. We got Christmas here next week for us, and it's the holidays, so if you give us a little time off to enjoy that, and then we'll be back in 2 weeks. That'll be our Game of the Year episode. So we'll be doing, once again, we'll be recording 2 episodes in one night. The first episode will go up. It'll be technically, I think, the first episode of the new year. That'll go up. That'll be 10 through 6 of our top 10 list. And then episode 2 will go up the week after. That'll be 5 through 1 and our honorable mentions. And then we'll be back mid-January for just going back to normal and talk about kind of what's been going on. Because it'll be at that point about a month since we've done a normal episode. And then also there should be like a little bonus fantasy critic episode in there. It depends. It will kind of depend like news wise. Like if there's a lot of news, maybe when we come back, maybe we'll do a normal episode. If not, maybe we'll just do a fantasy critic episode, and then wait another week. So we'll kind of see what's going on with that. But anyways, guys, so a lot of fun stuff going up there. But yeah, anyways, let's jump into some of the news and what's going on with this week. So like I said, a little more newsy for this time of year than I thought. Kind of surprised here. I think this happened on Monday or Tuesday. PlayStation did confirm that Bungie will be releasing Marathon in March, and it'll be at the $40 price point. So kind of things I think we already kind of assumed $40 was like the go-to price for this. That's kind of, I think Arc Rage is $40. We've seen Helldivers 2 at $40, stuff like that. But I think it already sounded like it was going to come out before the end of the fiscal year, which is April 1st. So that makes sense. There's been a bunch of alphas and betas and stuff like that, and it sounds like people have been playing it, have been a lot more positive after the original alpha. I think back in May or June. I think it was May. because they delayed it in June because it was going in September. But some of the stuff they did say they'll be at their when it comes out. There'll be a proximity chat. There'll be a solo experience. There'll be like a queue. There's gonna be a bunch of updates. They've added like it's gonna like more visual fidelity. They've done to it. There's like they put like a 22-minute video kind of breaking down some of the stuff that's gonna be into it. But they really just kind of like a lot of things that like was gonna be coming later will now be there at launch. And then yeah, like just kind of a little more breakdown like what to expect out of it, which I think is probably better. It's for it. But Gables, kind of what's your kind of thoughts and reactions to this marathon coming in March and then the price point?
I'm actually rather surprised that they were going to not only release it in March, but yet we haven't seen any other types of upgrades in terms of the actual gameplay footage since they've delayed the initial stuff. So that's kind of curious. That's kind of curious that they've already got things set out into motion and stuff,
Yeah,
plus $40 and stuff. I mean, yeah, you're right though when it comes to some of the particular, like say looter shooter stuff. They have like tried to do like the $40 price point. Obviously, Arc Raiders has been one of the more successful ones out of it this past year.
Tarkov.
Helldivers 2, the year before that and stuff. So I'm curious to see how much people are willing to invest inside of Marathon even after the whole initial just putting the game back into the oven and see if it cooking it a bit more and changing certain things and making sure there's no any type of like artistical work that they are taking from other players and stuff
Yeah,
or other people
sounds
without
like that's been fixed.
giving.
Yeah, so
Well, hopefully it's been fixed. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. Well, they've settled with the person that they that the people sold for, but but yeah, like so hopefully like I said, hopefully that's been fixed. But so far it seems like it's fixed.
right, right. But overall, I'm more like cautiously optimistic that this will be decent when it does come out. But at the same time, I'm actually just surprised they didn't do it a little bit longer. Like maybe around the summertime, maybe around that time, because it seems way too soon for this thing to be coming out into existence and stuff. Unless they're just trying to cut their losses and just release it in March and there you go.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a concern of like, I feel like that's been going back like decades now of like EA putting a game out in March was always kind of like very concerning because usually that game was like, well, we can't delay it any further because of like the new fiscal year starts in April, so we got to put it out now.
Right.
And like a lot of those times, but it doesn't seem to so much be the case anymore when this like seems like a lot more now. Like people is like actually it's just better to like delay it a little bit longer, a few more months than it is to put it out up and take the hit, especially now where people are more fickle now more than ever. It takes, you can have a bunch of great hits for a long time and you put out one stinker and people remember the stinker more than they'll remember all the, a decade of great hits. Looking at you, Rocksteady, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I do think like coming out with this stuff, having a lot like proximity chat, a lot of stuff at day one, because if I remember correctly, this stuff wasn't going to be there at launch. And it's like, that's kind of like stuff like proximity chat is like so important to like,
Essential.
yeah, to like Tarkov and like Arc Raiders, like that is like so important. Like I said, obviously hopefully fixing the stuff with the stolen art. Obviously that's bad, but it's one of those things that I always talk about. Like sometimes it just takes one asshole to ruin it for everybody else, and I think it's a lot of case where it's just like there's like one asshole just kind of ruined it for kind of take like I said, it just takes one dumbass to kind of fuck up reputation for everybody. But I don't know. I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic about this one. It'd just be nice to see Bungie get a win. And it's like obviously I think the video game world is better to have Bungie in it than not have it in it. Like they're getting a change of leadership. Like a lot of the toxic people that have been running that company pretty much into the ground for the last really probably ever since they went independent are pretty much gone at this point. I think Pete Parsons is leaving or is gone or hopefully I can't remember. It's been so long now, but it's like I think a nice changing of the guard maybe, and then just getting this game right. It'd be so nice. I honestly I think if this game comes out and is successful, I think I've always liked the style and the look of it. I've not played Arc Raiders. I played a little bit of this alpha of Marathon, and I thought it was okay. But it was like I compared it to like the alpha from Destiny, where I'm like, I like what this is. It's just like it's obviously an alpha. I wasn't like completely turned off by it, but it seemed like the more hardcore community was turned off by it. But yeah, I think like also going into that summer though, when like Tarkov was finally hitting 1.0, Arc Raiders was like been in beta, and then people have been really pumped about that for a long time. Hitting 1.0 coming out, I think a couple things. coming out around that time would have been. I mean, just coming, even though this game was like a good game, would have just killed it coming out around Arc Raiders and Tarkov. And plus, you're just going into Battlefield and Call of Duty and the holidays. It would have been a murder. That's a murderer's row right there. But coming out of that, and like, I feel like Arc Raiders as really kind of is like the first real big extraction shooter, I think, to like of its kind. Like that's actually like kind of brought it more into like from like more of the hardcore fans into like the common fans. Like there's people like I've talked to that like they're they play like they play Call of Duty or they play they play Battlefield, stuff like that, but they don't know anything about these style of games, and they're like, oh, you're about like, and like I hear them talking about Arc Raiders and stuff. I'm like, oh wow, like it's just it's crossing platforms here. It's crossing boundaries, and like a way where like, oh, this is like it's shining lights on people that wouldn't look at before. So I feel like it's got a better chance now, getting delayed, from September. Like this game was supposed to be coming out in September, so it was probably pretty close to being done at that point. So it doesn't shock me too much it's coming out in March. But I just maybe I'm just trying to be optimistic, and maybe I'm just being an idiot on this one, but I don't know. I want it to be good, and like I said, it's so easy to shit on things, and say, especially like online games where, oh, this is obviously gonna fail, because yeah, 8 out of 10 times you're gonna be right, it's gonna fail. It's easy. Like I keep going back to it. I was shitting on Helldivers 2 for months. I was like, this game, what are we doing? This is like $40 for this, and it was like one of the biggest games of 2024. So I mean, so I'm a little pie in my face on that one. So like, yeah, I don't know. It's like I don't know, it's the internet, I know, and like we're all guilty of it, but it just kind of annoys me sometimes. We're like, we just like collectively, people just like, we don't even give games a chance. We just like, and it just takes like a little moment, like it's just a snowball going downhill. Just like a few people shit on it with a name, and all of a sudden it's just that snowball is just building momentum and getting bigger and bigger. And it's just a game that game will come out and it'll have no fucking chance because of like as a community, as a society, whatever, we just chose to shit on this thing, 8 months ago because it had one bad trailer, or like it had one bad thing. It's all like, oh well, fuck this thing, it's dead. So I don't know. I'm gonna try to be a little more positive on it, and like I said, we're all guilty of that part of like jumping on the bandwagon of negativity. Like I've definitely been guilty of it, over the 12 years of us doing this podcast, where I've definitely jumped on some bandwagons. But I don't know. I'm trying to always be a little better about that, and maybe try to find the positivity on this one. But yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping for it. I really am. And like $40, I feel like now, like a couple of years ago, I would have said $40 are crazy, but now I feel like it's honestly, we're kind of moved back to like almost $40 is like almost kind of the standard at this point now with some of these like games, where like obviously you gotta be good enough to be worth that $40, but I don't think it's like $40 is like out of the question anymore. So I'm hopeful that it kicks off, and like at worst, like I mean, Bungie is probably the best at first-person shooters as far as like gameplay, like the feel of combat in a game. So I'm not worried about the gameplay part of it. But moving on, Gables, we're gonna go to one of my favorite things every single month. Gables, that's right. It's also your favorite thing. It's America's favorite segment. Gables guesses the Circana report. So Gables, all right, here we got November's Circana report. We have 1, 2, 3 brand new games in the month of November that are on the top 20 list. This is based off of U.S. dollar sales, not individual unit sales, but dollar sales. So you gotta keep that in mind. But yeah, we have 3 brand new games in the month of November that made it on the U.S. Circana report. Gables, do you want to give me a guess on this one?
Let me see. One of them has to be Nintendo, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say Kirby's Air Ride, possibly being one of them.
Kirby's Air Riders is number 10.
Okay, good. Good. At least I got that, because the other one I was thinking of didn't release until this month of December. Let me see. Other than November stuff. I'm trying to think.
One of the biggest franchises in the world.
The biggest franchises in the world. Jesus Christ, dude.
It's number 1 every year.
What's that?
Number 1 every year.
Well, let's see. Other than like Madden and stuff, there's the NBA
number
stuff.
1 game every year.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is number 1. My God.
I know, dude. It just takes me a little bit just to get through, and dude, you know how my mind is this time of the night.
One other game that is also made by this, technically published by the same company that you've already mentioned on here. that I beat this game.
Yeah.
That's the third one.
Okay, so that one's the third
It
one.
is a console exclusive.
Mm-hmm. All right, so it's console exclusive.
It's either published by Nintendo or Microsoft.
Jesus Christ. It's Microsoft, isn't it? Oh my God.
It is not Microsoft. It is
Fuck.
Nintendo. Nintendo published this game.
Oh, it's actually. Okay, so Nintendo published this game. Jeez.
It is based off a very popular IP, but it was not made by
Legend of
Nintendo.
Zelda.
It is Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment, number 11.
Yeah.
Yes. So those are the three. We're gonna run through the top 20 list here. Gables number 20, dropping from number 9. Digimon Story Time Stranger. Number 19,
Okay.
jumping from 30th to 19th, so it must have been a sale of some sort. Forza Horizon 5, number 18. Borderlands 4, number 17. GTA 5, number 16. Red Dead Redemption 2, number 15. Spider-Man 2, number 14. Actually jumping back in after falling out of the top 20 list. Donkey Kong Bonanza, number 13. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, number 12. Still holding strong here for a third month in a row. Outer Worlds 2, actually no, second month in a row. Number 11, we already mentioned Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment. Number 10, Kirby Air Riders. Number 9, Minecraft. Number 8, College Football 26. Number 7, for the third month in a row, still in the top 10, Ghost of Yote. Number 6, Pokemon Legends ZA. Number 5, EA Sports FC 26. Number 4, Madden 26. Number 3, NBA 2K 26. Number 2, Battlefield 6. So many sixes, god damn. Number 1, Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Yeah, I do. A fun little surprise though for you, Gables here. You want to guess what the number
What's
one
that?
best-selling game of the year is?
No, I mean, I'm not sure what the best-selling game of the year is currently at this point.
Okay, it is Battlefield 6 still.
Oh, Battlefield 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Call of Duty Black Ops 7 coming in at 7th place, which is, I would say, very disappointing for that franchise. So,
Yeah, considering how much they put so much effort into promoting that damn game and do tie-ins and stuff, Battlefield 6 getting the most success in terms of the year selling stuff. I mean, yeah, that's pretty big.
yeah. Kind of an interesting thing though that came out of this though is that this past November was the worst November in video games since 1995 for sales in the United States.
For physical games, I mean, yeah, that's no surprise,
Just gaming
dude.
in general,
But
just like console sales and stuff.
well, unfortunately, because of other prices going up and everything else and stuff, I mean, hell, look at how many consoles and stuff have gone up in price over the past year. If they're all three of the major companies from Nintendo, Microsoft, and like Sony and stuff, I mean, that is partly to blame as well, on top of certain game prices increasing as well. I mean, people were not happy when Nintendo started putting out like $80 Mario Kart,
Yeah,
even though the attach rate to that initial thing is like 90%, I think it is, of
yeah,
like Switch 2 owners have Mario Kart like World and stuff.
yeah, and that's mainly because people like I think the majority,
Well,
like
yeah,
80% of the Switch 2s out there are the one that comes bundled with Mario Kart.
right, 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 right. Right, and that's exactly why a lot of people got the more expensive one, because they know if they bought it individually, they'd get it for like $80. So it's like you get it for like 50 if you buy it with the system.
Yeah,
But but yeah, it's just a myriad of different things that have contributed to that. I mean, you have to think back like around 30 years ago. I mean, it's there were expensive games, there were expensive things, but that was an entirely different type of economy, entirely different types of like expectations for video games and stuff. But getting right back down to that standard after so many years of major like advancements and stuff, and now we're back down to those levels here. Obviously, there are definitely some issues that do pop up other than pricing. I mean, there's certain game stagnation stuff too. I mean, for gaming stuff in general, let's say for not just for the physical games and stuff itself, but just there are a lot of modern games that are not like say indie, that are kind of mostly reiterations of like sequels, or more kind of like the same minded sort of mentality and stuff, to where okay, well, this is a free to play game, this has different microtransactions, this is like a battle royale style game, or is this like a shooter game or a gotcha game, or
mm.
in the case of like say for some of these mobile games that Nintendo has put out, these obviously a style of gacha game, but yet you have to pay a lot of like money for different types of currencies and this and that. More people are kind of drifting away and just trying to get into more of the personable type of experiences. But a part of the reason I kind of feel, and just to reiterate, that is affecting some of these sales going like as poorly as they have been this past year is just I think there's just some fatigue. There has to be some form of fatigue too, because it's like you're not getting to this extent and like at a low for like 30 years without there being something that people are absolutely tired of. I mean, but
Yeah.
maybe it's just me rambling, but all I have to say is there's just so many different factors to play in. The price of systems, the price of games, the reiterations of the same types of games over and over again. Quite honestly, in my opinion, it's like there are some aspects of game genres and stuff that have remained the same, even like about since 10 or like 15 years ago, that haven't really advanced too much. But yeah, I will say there's a lot of positive stuff too. I mean, the indie scene has flourished a ton, and that's helped a lot in terms of video game sales, especially from this past year that we've had major games like Clear Expedition 33 coming out, Hades 2 finally got out of this initial beta, Silk Song finally released after a number of years and stuff that people have been clamoring they wanted to play, as well as many other like crazy success stories, like Megabonk, for example, the game
Yeah.
you've been trying to get me to play, and I finally did this past week
Fucking
and
finally.
stuff. This is a game that was made by what, like a few people,
One guy.
right? And yet this core concept was so simple in its nature and stuff. It's basically doing like a 3D version of Vampire Survivors, and yet it's made so much different types of profit from it because gamers are so focused upon these type of personable experiences to where they're kind of cheap. Okay, like maybe 5, maybe 10, $15 or something like that. And all of a sudden they're just great quality games, right?
Mm.
But yeah, I just don't know how else to kind of phrase it. But Tyler, what do you think?
I have a couple. So Matt Piscatella, I think, talked probably a lot of good points here. That so the average price for a console in November 2019 was $235. In November
Hmm.
2025, it is $439. Uh,
God, that's like almost double.
yeah, and you got to think. Well, and back then too, at that point, the consoles were coming usually bundled with a game or something like one
Yes.
guy had a really good comment. He's like in 2019, I bought a PS4 bundle for $200 and it came with Spider-Man. It's like now
Yeah.
and now it's like they raised the price. The PlayStation 5 went up $100, and for the holidays this year they dropped their price $100. So it was right back to the price it was when it launched. The same thing with Xbox. I mean, this isn't just a PlayStation. The Xbox, same thing. Even Nintendo. I think what's surprising is that 53% of consoles sold in November were PlayStation 5s. The Switch
Yeah.
was a distant two, and it's not like the Switch 2, like obviously the Switch 2 is doing fine. I'm not like it's probably gonna be having the best first years ever because of just how much quantity of is out there. Like it's a lot easier to get. I've seen them at stores multiple times now. I see them online. They're fairly easy
There
to
is
get.
so many Switch 2s that are available, and they're
Yeah,
so easy to get now.
yeah, yeah. Like, and I think that's like, I mean, this isn't a case where like it's not like in 2020 where like no one can get like the new consoles come out in November and like Switch One was the best selling console that month because it was the only one people can buy. Like this isn't that case. This is a case where the Switch 2 is available and it's a little bit cheaper than like it's about the I guess about the same price if you put the with the PlayStation 5 sale. So people are 1-to-1 sale here and people are buying PlayStation 5s over the Switch 2. 5 years. I mean, I don't know. I think that like I said, that Matt Pistillo talking about here, we're 6 years into the life cycle of the PS4, and it was $235, and we're 5 years into the PS5, and it's nearly double, and it doesn't look like it's gonna go down. And obviously, with everything going on with we're seeing on the prices of skyrocketing, PC parts stuff like that, it's probably only gonna get more expensive. And like I would bet money, like Nintendo, like the stock dropped because they found out that like the price of making a Switch has gone up for them because how much it costs to get the parts now. So like it's bad. It's not great. So like yeah, it's like. But I do want to point out Gables. Like I mean, you look at. I was just looking here while you're talking. On the top 20 list for the best selling games in November, all 20 of them are sequels, or they're either sequels or they're known IP. I look at
Right.
the top 20 selling games of the year. Same thing, all sequels are known IP. Like the, I mean, which
Right.
we complain about, but also the problem is like we love IP. Like we like, and especially now where like you think about like when the when we're like we're at a point right now where pennies are getting pinched. Things are going up more and more, and and it's like you hear about it every year where like especially this year like overall like it's gonna be another you're gonna hear like oh it was another record year for spending for the holidays this year. But the part that you're not gonna hear about is like how much but the amount of things that were bought is way down, and like that's like it was up 4%, but it like but the amount of items purchased was down like 10% or 8% or something like that. Like
Yeah, you're hardly gonna hear.
I worked at
Yeah.
FedEx for the last 5 years, and like I saw it, like during like like for during Black Friday, and like people were talking about like the last like decade, like that yeah, like you hear about like spending going on, but like kind of the mid 2010s where it was like yeah, people were spending more money, but the amount of packages being shipped was less and less. And it's like so like I was there like the last few years where like I mean we were still really busy during the holidays, but it was like man, it was like you'd work 13-hour shifts and you would like bring back like a ton of deliveries just because you it was just impossible to ship everything out, get everything delivered. But then like the last year I was there where I was like I worked a 12-hour shift, but I got everything done. It's like obviously that's just I'm just one guy, but like that's just like one station out of you know thousands, and like Amazon's way bigger than FedEx, so is UPS stuff like that. But like as a guy, like I said, I spent 5 years, the last 5 holidays shipping for them, and I noticed a drastic difference over the years. And talking to guys that have been there for decades, they said there's like that's just been the way it's been going for a long time. So especially as it's crazy too as we get more and more things are ordered online. But I don't know. Gables, kind of getting out of the depressing shit. Let's get to the more fun stuff here. So Gables, Matt Piscatell, he had this last month. I never got around to talking to you about it. Um,
Right.
but I want to. He did this. He did this. He did. We have October and we have November. These are games that sold exactly one physical unit in the United States in October of 2025.
One physical unit.
Yes, you're never gonna guess any of them, so I'm just gonna tell you. Uh,
Okay.
for the Xbox 360, Burnout Paradise.
There was an unsold copy of Burnout Paradise for the 360.
Yes, Gables. It gets weirder. So you just hold on to your nuts. For the Nintendo 3DS, Carnival Games Wild West 3D.
That sounds like something that a freaking Walmart discount bin just couldn't get rid of for
Mm-hmm.
years.
Yeah. Gables, it gets crazier.
What's
For
that?
Game Boy Advance,
What?
Incredibles 2 Rise of the Underminer.
You know, yeah, that's crazy. And I believe I can understand why this type of game sold, right? I don't think this was like a brick and mortar retailer. If it was, then man, it had to have been it had to have been at some form of like secondary like retailer thing, like a dollar store or like a freaking
Yeah.
or like a freaking Big Lots or some shit,
Yeah.
because those are the types of games, or even or even like at a Rite Aid or like a Walgreens thing, it's like there are specific types of games that make their way to these type of not like A tier of like retailers or something, but more like the B or C tier type of
Yeah.
things, or sometimes drugstores have it.
Yeah.
I've I've seen instances of this happen, Tyler. Back when I used to have a Rite Aid in the old town I used to live in, I go in there, and during the times like the mid 2000s, there was like some like one or two like Game Boy Color games that would still be available, even like right around like the mid 2000s, like say 2005 or something. These things are released like 5 or 6 years ago, like 5 or 6 years before.
Mm.
Like I picked up a Dragon Warrior game, right? Like a Dragon Warrior Monsters game, I think for the Game Boy Color, right? But that was like way back, like around 2003, 2004,
Yeah.
way past when it first launched. But on top of that, this was the same drugstore where I saw a copy of Rush Hour 2, like literal unsold, unopened
Yeah.
copies of Rush Hour 2 that released back when it first released. I think it was like 2000, or
It's like yeah, like that'd be like early 2000s.
they had copies still until like around 2008.
Mm-hmm. Gables, like I mentioned, I worked at FedEx, and I delivered in like small towns here in Iowa, and like I'm talking like
Uh-huh.
a couple hundred people live at, but like so I have like multiple Dollar Generals I'd have to like go and do pickups from every day, and they would have
Yeah.
copies behind the counter of like DVDs, like 20-year-old movies, DVDs, and they'd have like Xbox 360 like dancing game, like it's usually like Connect games or some sort, like still sitting back there in like sealed in copy. They
Huh.
just couldn't. No one like who's buying these things. So yeah, like I get that. So it's not the craziest thing. Like
Dude,
it's nuts, but I don't know. Like when I've seen some
the
weird shit.
craziest, I think the craziest thing that I think we've talked about in the podcast in terms of like old games I sold in the retailers is like that there was, I think it was either a Sonic the Hedgehog game or something else that was at a retailer that was like literally for like the Genesis or like the freaking oh god. It was something incredibly ancient. Like it was like about 25 or like 30 years old and managed someone found it like in the back of one of the retail stuff
Like a
like a
brand new
like a
copy of
Walmart or
Sonic the
a
Hedgehog.
brand new copy
That's wild.
or something, and they end up selling that one unit
Yeah.
for its initial price that it was at.
Yeah. It'd be nuts. And it says on the box you can't resell that. So I mean, that poor person that bought it, even though it's in a box, it might be worth millions.
Oh my god.
So Gables, we're not done. There's more. I don't know what this is
There's
for.
more?
It just said Gables. We're just still in October. So this just says NDA. So I'm assuming it's Nintendo something. Imagine fashion stylist. Okay.
Imagine Fashion Stylist. Is that an old like Game Boy Advance game?
It's like an old DS game or something, maybe. I don't know.
Oh
Something my
yeah,
sister
yeah,
would have played
yeah,
when she was
yeah.
4. Gables, a physical copy of the PC game Spore.
What?
Yes.
That's fucking 20 years
Well,
old, for
yeah.
God's sake. That was 2003.
Yeah. 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 That was like 2008. Yeah. Uh,
Something like that.
Gables
Yeah.
for the
Uh-huh.
PS2, Backyard Baseball, the original.
Does it say where it was sold at?
No, I wish. I don't think he gets that information.
The original Backyard Baseball for PS2, man.
Yep.
That's wild.
For PS3, Hasbro Family Game Night 3.
Okay.
PS4, so a little more modern here. Cooking Mama Cookstar. And
Cookie
then
Mama Cooker. Okay.
last but not least for October, for the Xbox One, Ultra Busta Move.
Really? Okay.
And then
And that's just October.
that was just October. So we're going on the November here. There's about 8 games here, give or take. For
Okay.
the PSP, Samurai Warriors State War.
I'm just trying to think about this for a moment. It's like a fucking PSP game. Just think of it this way, dude. It's like you have a PSP game that sells at a retailer, and Sony just randomly just gets one unit, and so it's like, wow, that's still out there.
Yeah. I remember it was like someone noticed like one of the quarterly updates for like Nintendo because they put out like they actually like do a really good job putting out updates of like individual like how many copies their games have sold. And somebody realized like
Yes.
2 years ago like the Mario Kart DS had sold like 10,000 copies or something like that in like one quarter. It was like there's just like it just went up like one decimal point. Just dumb shit like that. For the PS3, Dragon Ball Raging Blast 2.
Oh wow.
Yep. For the Wii, Donkey Kong Barrel Blast.
Donkey Kong Barrel Blast for the Wii.
Yep.
And that's not like an obscure game either. I mean, that's an actual first party Nintendo property
Yeah.
that one of their games sold that late after.
Yeah, like almost like 15 years later. For the Nintendo DS, My Weight Loss Coach. My Weight Loss Coach. There's a space in there.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, that has to be a drugstore sale.
Yeah, yeah. Someone got it for their niece, or like some 90-year-old lady got it for their niece. For the Xbox One, Panzer Dragoon Orta.
Wait, Panzer Dragoon Orta.
Yeah, it just says,
That's an original Xbox game.
maybe Xbox XBX means Xbox. Well, wasn't there like a remaster? Like it was like a launch game, wasn't it?
Tyler, that abbreviation XBX, that's original Xbox.
Is it? I thought it was. Oh, okay. So Ultra Busta Move was also original Xbox game.
Yeah. Panzer Dragoon Orta was a launch game for the original Xbox.
God.
That's 2001. Someone
Okay.
sold an unopened copy of Panzer Dragoon Orta in 2025.
So we got an Ultra Bust a Move and Panzer Dragoon Orta Xbox One game, Xbox original Xbox games,
Oh my
being
god,
sold in
that's
2025.
wild.
For PSP, we have a Trax Pad with two X's, Portable Studio.
Okay.
For the 3DS, we have Gables. This game sold one copy in October and sold another copy in November. Carnival Games Wild West 3D. Man, Carnival Games turning it around, guys. They're back. For PS2, Gables, the classic X-Men Legends.
There was a fucking Xbox, well, not Xbox,
For PS2.
X-Men Legends for
Mm-hmm.
PS2, the original one.
Yeah.
This has to be a either Best Buy or a Walmart. I probably would think a Walmart probably found it just randomly.
Yeah. Yeah. Big lots. And last but not least, Gables, for the Xbox 360, Crisis 3.
Oh, could you just imagine like someone working at a GameStop just randomly looking at their back thing like a safe, like not just a back safe, but just a back storage thing, and just looking underneath like a shelf that they haven't like cleaned in years or something like that. Just, oh, hey, an unopened copy of Crisis 3.
Right. Gables, I'm not. I don't know if you know this about me. I was a gigantic Crisis fan in the 360 era. I
Hmm.
loved the Crisis One when they brought the Xbox 360, and then I played
Yeah.
Crisis Two and adored that game. And I was so excited when Crisis Three came out that
Hmm.
like on the first level, 5 minutes in the game, I got a fucking red ring, and then waited like 3 weeks to get my console back. Finally got it back. Went back, started playing that game, and I hated that game. I got all the way to the final boss. Like, oh, I shouldn't say. I disliked that game. It was very disappointing. I got all the way to the final boss, and I was just like, I'm done. I didn't even attempt the final boss. I just got to the final boss, and I was like, I'm done. I don't want to play this anymore. And I just shut it off and never played it again. That's my memory of Crisis 3, is getting a red ring on it 5 minutes into it, getting it back, finally getting the chance to play after waiting like a month, and turning it off at the final boss. That's my memories of Crisis
Wow.
3. Fuck that game. Um, Gables, last story here. Um, I don't know. So this is some rumors kind of here. There's like some maybe misreporting here, but we don't know yet for sure. There's been some details about potentially Nintendo offering a different type of Switch card for the for Switch 2 for third party
Mm.
developers. So obviously it's been a big ordeal this past 6 months or so with the launch of the Switch 2, and a lot of disappointment with the um coming out, and then like basically every third party game that comes out, it's just a key card. There's no actual game on it. You have to like download it on your console. And a lot of that sounds like is basically Nintendo is only offering like the 64 gigabyte version of it
Yep.
to like the third party. And I think I don't know if it's just Outcry or maybe just eventually as I've gotten a little further now, that sounds like potentially that they might be offering this to the third party. Now we don't know for sure. There's like initially it sounded like for sure this was the case from like a developer, but then they're kind of like backtracking a little bit on it. So it could be a case of they said something they weren't supposed to, or it could just be a case of like they were, it was kind of like they misspoke there on it. We've seen like I think it was like R Type is getting a physical edition, but they're charging $10 more for it than a physical or than a digital edition just because of the cost of production, which I can understand, especially a smaller game like that. But kind of like I don't know. I mean, Gables, you're someone that is more of a physical collector than I am at this point. I mean, what's your thoughts on hopefully opinions on this?
I think there's some merit to this, and only because when it comes to any type of third party game support right now, I mean, you touched upon it fairly well, where a lot of the third parties are on game key cards, and as a result, because of how hated these game key cards are from not just personal like physical collectors in general, but just like for some gamers in general, there's no it's not any type of like surprise that people were just drifting away from even attempting to want to purchase that stuff. I mean, there's only like maybe two or three, just a handful of games for the Switch 2 for like third party wise you can buy like in physical form without there needing to be like a physical download or something like that through, you know, from that initial stint, downloading the full game onto your system.
Mm.
And I know that Cyberpunk was one of them, and I know there was another like anime farming game that was as
Yeah.
well. But I think it was like I don't remember the actual name, but what I'm trying to get at is I have seen a bit of the Twitter posts and stuff from the initial companies in question, especially the one that's making that new R-Type game, and then advertising, "Hey, we're so happy that initial initial like smaller card or something is coming out," and then it's like I feel like that because there's been so much backlash with these key cards, and Nintendo is backpedaling a little bit in terms of this stuff. I mean, it's not a surprise to me. I mean, third parties, they want people to buy their third party games on the freaking Switch if they're putting out their physical stuff. So it's like getting the options from just a 64 gigabyte card into something smaller makes better sense because we're seeing like all these different third party games coming on the Switch too in physical form, right? But yet some of them don't make any sense that they could have had the full game on their initial card itself. Like that Puyo Puyo Tetris game that released during the launch, I think, of Switch 2. That
Okay.
one, that I think that size of that game though was incredibly small in comparison to the actual card itself,
Yeah.
to the point where it could have been just full on the initial card, but they opted just to do a digital, like sort
Yeah.
of like just a game key card sort of style to that. But
Yeah.
that's
It's just
just one example.
yeah. Well, it's just because the obviously if you have a 16 or 32 bar, it's just a cheaper key card to buy individually for that. And I think that's part of it. It's like I
Right.
mean you hear a lot about like the return on the return on cost for once you produce these things and make it like there's a very thin margin of profit for these, and the bigger the cart, the bigger the less profit you're gonna make on it. So,
Yeah.
I think that I mean that's just the case, and it does suck. Like I get it from like if you're someone that like wants to buy games physically, it is like it just really it's a bummer. And yeah, I think even like just buying it just kind of sucks like in general of like buying. I think it's just kind of shitty overall of like buying games and like it's basically just triggers a download at this point. Like I get like day one updates is the thing that is going on, but like I think it's just I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm not I don't know if this is the case, but it is something I wonder about like a decade from now or 15 years from now when they eventually shut off like the Switch 2 shop and everything like that. But it's like like typically when like they shut off like when PlayStation or Xbox or whatever they shut off like the ability to buy games on their consoles, they still give you the ability if you buy it digitally to then download it still, so you still have the option to still play it, even if like the server like the store is gone. One thing I'm wondering though is like, you know, 15 years from now when the Switch 2 store is gone, are you gonna is that option still available for people that own if you want to am I better off buying the game digitally if the physical cart is just a trigger to like hey download the game, like will that work like obviously I don't know if anybody knows the answer to this. I'd like to ask somebody that would know
Not at
better.
this moment in time
Yeah.
because this is still kind of new-esque to that initial
Yeah.
stint, though. But you bring up an excellent point. There's it's because of how so up in the air it is. I mean, we can't really guarantee that these games are going to be available if these initial e-stores and stuff get shut down. Like, say, when Nintendo Switch 2 is no longer a thing and that eShop is completely shut down. There could be a case to where if you have one of those game key cards, you go to put it in, you try to download it, and there's nothing there, then, well, I guess that means you are out 40 or $50.
Hmm.
But at the same point, I don't think that it's going to get to that initial point like currently, but at the
No.
same time, I can't 100% rule it out. And that
Yeah.
just tells, and that really just tells consumers, just for one aspect, is if you are buying third party games or like any of the sort, you're not going to buy them on the Nintendo platforms. You're going to buy them anywhere else.
Yeah, I just mean that because like typically, if you're buying these games physically, you're probably some sort of collector. Or you plan on keeping them, and I do
Right.
like I think if that's something that's people need to like I said, this could be explained already, and we already know the answer. It could not. I don't know, but like I would say, yeah, if you're a physical collector, like I don't know, like you're buying these things, so you want to have access to play them. You want to be able to play them 20 years from now, or at least just have the ability to do that. And I wonder, like, yeah, like, are you like, is somebody that went completely digital? Are you better off going completely digital to Switch 2 rather than going completely, going physical for these games that don't have the game on the cart? And like that, no. Like I said, I don't know the answer to that. I'm curious. Like if somebody knows the answer to that, I'd love to like tell me. It's just something I was thinking about the other day. When those, sometimes you do your best thinking in the shower, and that was one of the things I think about. That's what I think about in the shower. But maybe that says more about me than anything else. But I don't know. But yeah, just something that's interesting. Keep an eye on it. So hopefully things will turn around more as we get like later in the generation. But we'll have to wait and see. Moving on here, Gable. Some other news this week, some smaller stuff here. Xbox after they actually announced this during the Game Awards, kind of quietly, and it's kind of glossed over. But a lot of people were talking about how Xbox was kind of a no-show at the Game Awards. They did announce that in January they'll be having a direct. Typically they have one January, February, so I have one of those there. Probably show 4 or 5 games. Eidos Montreal, who is making an Alien game. It's currently very early in development, but that's what they are working on. People that they made one of our favorite games of the year from 4 years ago, Guardians of the Galaxy. There will be a Resident Evil showcase in early 2026. And some rumors here that there will be a Resident Evil 0 and Veronica are the next 2 remakes they're currently working on. And those will be coming out in 2027 and 2028. So kind of some details there. So maybe, I don't know if those will be there at the showcase. I wonder if it's just going to be more of like a Capcom likes to show off their games a million times. So I wouldn't be shocked if it's just focusing on Requiem, but I don't know, maybe there'll be some fun other things that show up there, pop up there. Maybe they give us a little tease for what's next from Resident Evil. But that's
Right.
kind of all the news for us for the week. Gables, let's jump into what we've been playing. Like I said, I have not been playing really much of anything. So Gables, I'll give you the
Okay.
floor.
All right. So, like I said towards the beginning of the show, I got my Steam Deck OLED in the mail. I had a chance to try out a bunch of different games and stuff on the device itself. So, I started small. So, I started with some classic games. So, I downloaded the Sega collection stuff that's on Steam. It has a whole bunch of the different games, like, say, Streets of Rage 2 for the Genesis. So, I started playing a bit of Streets of Rage 2, played through like the first initial level stuff, had no issues with it. Obviously, I mean, it's freaking over 30 years old at this point. If there are issues with the emulation stuff of that game on that game, that OLED screen or whatsoever, I would be concerned. But no, I'm playing fairly fine in terms of that stuff. I tried out Vampire Survivors because obviously I love playing Vampire Survivors. It's always that comfort game coming to and from. Tried a couple games in that one and stuff. Didn't have too many issues. Actually, it worked fairly well. Then I decided, okay, we're gonna download something a little bit more intense, right? Something a little bit more intensive that is gonna kind of push a little bit of the limits of this Steam Deck. So I decided to download the entire game of Doom 2016. That was the one where they finally came back from all those years ago and stuff from the last Doom games and stuff. So it was like a 59 gigabyte download. The download actually went through and was not that long at all.
Yeah.
I hardly had any type of issues in terms of downloading the games on Steam itself. They were super quick, super thorough. I think the longest I had to wait really was like maybe 20 minutes. I think that was just for that same Doom game and stuff. But once it was fully downloaded and stuff, I powered it on. Oh my God, those fans just started jetting on, man. That thing was just really getting put through a little bit of its paces. But I'm happy to report, having played like a good solid like 30 minutes or so, or 30 minutes to an hour of Doom 2016, it plays really freaking well. There was no like cuts and frames that I noticed. There wasn't any type of like various like crazy ghosting or any type of like major issues, say with the motion blur stuff. I did check in with the different things of the settings. There are some features that are set to ultra by default, like the motion blur being one of them for some of the visual aids. Right at this moment, for control wise, you were able to use the analog sticks like you could. You could actually use the little mouse pads on the side too to try to. You can actually use like the right mouse track pad in order to do like your aiming and stuff as well, which that's going to be a little bit more awkward and stuff. You try to do it in handheld mode. But the biggest thing that I'm trying to learn how to turn off is the gyroscope, just the gyro controls of this thing, because by default they have you have like the gyro controls, and then obviously with turning the whole system and stuff and trying to aim and stuff, that feels incredibly awkward. And especially if you're trying to play with the stick controls, because you're just going to lose a lot of precision doing that. So I know this is user error on my part, so I have to learn how to try to turn that feature off. Which leads to another thing that I really like about this Steam Deck OLED. It's like it's very customizable. I mean, I can go through and like a lot of the different things on the system itself and adjust certain ways of how like the battery performance is going to be, like do a little bit of conservation stuff. I can actually click features to where I don't charge the system 100% because there are some electronics where you should not charge completely 100% because it may deteriorate the battery over a long period of time. I think Switch too also has that option as well, if I'm not mistaken, but I haven't checked
Yeah, it
that in a
does. I
long
have that
while.
set up on mine. It only goes 80%.
Right. And so yeah, the Steam Deck OLED has that function as well. Um, Other games I tried out on it, I tried out Cuphead. Oh my God, man. Playing Cuphead in my bed like that with this huge ass screen and stuff and just having a bit of fun like with the D-pad. The D-pad's kind of a little bit glossy and stuff. It's not like the best D-pad, but at the same time, it works. It's fine. It's not like anything terrible or anything. Buttons, highly responsive. Triggers are fairly good. There's actually a couple additional buttons you can program for like macro keys and stuff for
Oh
different
yeah.
types of things you could use, like say for shooters. I have downloaded other games on this system too, like say Half-Life 2 and I freaking Left 4 Dead 2 as well. So I want to try out those two as well. Ah, but yeah, other than that though, I am really looking forward to checking out the Steam Winter Sale stuff because I want to at least pick up a couple of different games. I know that I'm going to be getting paid early on for the next week, so I'm going to see what exactly I'm going to want to buy for my Steam Deck and obviously for this main PC here too that I'm using. But I'm very happy with what I've invested in. I feel like I'm getting more of my money's worth right now out of playing with this Steam Deck OLED right now that I have interest in playing my Switch 2 at the moment. Which hey, I got some great first party games to the Switch 2. I still have to finish up Pokemon Legends Z through A, play a little bit more Donkey Kong Bonanza and stuff. But this could be my third party machine for my fucking Steam OLED, dude, because it's comparable. It's fairly easy just soak some time into the game. I don't hardly have any type of cramping issues and stuff. There are some things where if I'm holding the thing for too long and stuff that some little numbness will occur, but it's not like terrible. It's not like me trying to grasp the original Switch's Joy-Cons or something while I'm trying to play something or having to switch or having to like slide on third party little Joy Cons and stuff from my original Switch where I have to try to play this
Yep.
and all of a sudden get fucking hand cramps because the damn plastic feels like shit.
Yeah. I had more issues with like playing like Mega Bonk for like an hour, like in handheld and like all like or just playing games like holding that thing for an hour just staring at it. I'm not used to like I don't play a lot of handheld and it's like after like an hour you kind of like you like when you're like really into it and like you're not looking
Yeah,
anywhere for like an hour
yeah.
straight and like you start to like walk around like and get back in real life and you're like oh god like oh god like it kind of like
I've
messes
had
with
that
you a little
moment
bit.
too. I did have that moment too, and I have not had that type of experience since I used to play a lot of my 3DS.
Mm. Yeah, 3DS
Because
was really bad. Yeah.
dude, the 3DS was really bad because after like sessions of like playing like Pokemon X and Y or like Fire Emblem Awakening and stuff like that, I would freaking have like the blur stuff. I remember having to take a break and stuff, had to take my DOG to go out, go out and stuff like that. And then my eyes would be just kind of glazed over a little bit. It's
Hmm.
like in the middle of the night, it's like it's dark, it's kind of cloudy and stuff. Like, oh well, hey, I think I could see a couple stars up there.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. Yeah, just yeah. I don't know. Like maybe too, it's just like getting a little older, so your eyes strain a little bit more. But it's like definitely like, man,
true,
yeah. I was the same with
true.
3ds. I after like 6 months of 3ds, I just turned off the 3D. It's like I don't need this.
Oh, I didn't even use the 3D hardly at all, dude,
It's
unless it
worthless.
was like the 3D on another tangent, yeah, the 3D aspect of the 3DS really wasn't that
Yeah,
useful for me, other than like see a couple of games like Super Mario 3D Land and stuff like that.
3D Land and like
But
Luigi Mansion Dark Moon was actually pretty cool. That was about
but
it.
I will say though, for this Steam Deck OLED, I Can't wait until I actually try some bit of stuff for like the MU deck and stuff. I haven't even
Yeah.
delved into the initial desktop mode or anything of that sort because I know there's a lot of different things I can do with this device. I just need to prioritize first. Okay, I just want my core set of games I want to play on my device and then invest inside of some storage because I think I have like 500 and something gigs for this Steam OLED, and I just need to invest in a higher thing of storage.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I got one. I mean, luckily SD cards are pretty cheap, but like I've got
Yeah.
a ton. I mean, I'm not putting massive games on. It's more like indie games or like older games. But yeah, like
Yes.
I don't even how to use my SD card yet. So
But yeah, other than that, man, that's pretty much what I've been playing for this week.
all right, man. Well, guys, we'll be back. We'll have a special episode that we've already recorded. That'll be up next week. We'll have fun with that one. So please check it out. Gables, I had fun. I don't know if Gables had fun, but it was a good episode. It was a really good episode. It's kind of a fun, dumb thing we really only get to do like once a year. Get a little goofy. So please look forward to that one. That'll be up. It might go. You know, I'm gonna put it up on Saturday. Put it up a day early for everybody. So that'll be going up, and then we'll be back in 2 weeks. Gables and I will be doing, like I mentioned at the top of the show, our game of the year, our top 10, each of our top 10 lists for the game of the year for 2025. That'll be going up. That'll be brought up into 2 parts. So that'll be like the first episode. That'll be the first 2 episodes of 2026, which is crazy to say that out loud. Yeah,
I know,
we'll be
right?
back with that, and then we should be back into our normal rotation in mid-January. So kind of like going on. You know, it's kind of nice. We got like a pre-planned here. Makes it a little bit easier as far as like playing at the show, but also adds a lot more work as far as putting together a fun little dumb thing for Gables to do, and then also, having to get really stressful and like ranking my games for like for the years is never fun for me. As much as fun as it is to talk about once it's done, the process of putting it together is never fun. But anyways, I want to say thank you guys so much for checking us out and enjoying the show. Or hope you enjoyed the show rather. Please like, follow, subscribe, check us out. We're on everywhere podcast services. Best place to check us out is on YouTube. Please like, follow, subscribe over there. Well, I just like and subscribe, I guess. If you want to, just for $1 a month, you can sign up for a membership. Don't have anything to give you, just a way of saying, hey, we appreciate what you do and like you guys. But anyways, I was your host. I was Tyler.
And I've been Colonel Gables, so thank you very much for listening to the fun-filled episode of the Drunk-Nerds podcast.
Hey, Gables.
Yeah,
Too sweet.
too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.